дочь не видела, не похоронила, я лицо ее без особой жестокости, ты ее бил. Ты убивал ее несколько
Так, пожалуйста, пройдите.
Aytbek, which is Sultanat's older brother, watching the videos in court for the first time. In the videos, Sultanat was forced to sit on the toilet, completely nude, except for her black puffer jacket. And in the video, her husband, the ex-minister, Bishimbayev, is grabbing her by the hair, forcing her to pay attention to him. The ex-minister of Kazakhstan grabs his wife by her hair, throws her onto the ground in the hallway, literally chucks her. Her jacket naturally flips open. She's barely covered. There's like a split second of calmness, like a moment of decision, you might even say. The ex-minister lifts his right leg up, kicks his wife very hard, once, twice, and then another, as hard as he can with his dominant leg. He's kicking her so hard, he's holding onto the table on the side of the restaurant hallway to maintain his own balance. He punches her square in the face with enough force that it likely completely shatters her entire nose. He walks maybe a few steps away from his wife, and it's another moment of decision making where he decides that's not enough and starts dragging her through the hallway by her hair. He drags her into a room, a restroom, with no CCTV camera. But there is footage of the ex-minister at 3:30 p.m., about 8 hours later. He's still inside the restaurant, and this time he's seen having lunch with a woman. And it almost looks like a date. November 9th, 2023, the ex-minister of Kazakhstan will sit down and share a meal with an influencer while his wife lay dying in a VIP room of the restaurant. His excuse for, why couldn't you call for help? Well, the answer is very simple. Because Vladimir Putin is coming. Who do you call when you're in the middle of an emergency? The ex-minister of economy of Kazakhstan? He calls his most trusted advisor. He's freaking out at this point. He's on the phone. My wife, she's not waking up. The advisor is calm over the phone. It's okay. She'll sleep until the evening, but you can take her to the doctor if you wish. The ex-minister looks down at his wife's lifeless body in the restaurant. Her entire face is swollen. There's bruises, lacerations, cuts all up and down her body. She doesn't look like she's gonna be fine. But what the hell does a psychic know?
He was calling a psychic?
Yeah.
What?
The Bishimbayev family is old power. The father of the family, so Bishimbayev Sr., Bishimbayev's dad, is a prominent figure in the academic sector. Family appear to be large property owners. I mean, they own the restaurant that the ex-minister and his wife are in right at this very moment. Putin is coming to the House of Ministries, and his Secret Service are outside the restaurant trying to get in right now because they need to secure the whole block. And the ex-minister's wife is laying in one of the VIP rooms, tortured, beaten, and not waking up. So he's trying to use this ammonia gas to wake her up. He is on trial for the murder and torture of his 31-year-old wife, Sultanat Nukianova, and he has requested an open trial with a full jury and participation of media representatives. His voice is incredibly calm when he takes the stand. There was no motive or intention or purpose for me to commit such a senseless act. I loved Sultanat. Bishimbayev argues that his wife self-exited that night that they were drinking at the restaurant. But here's the creepy thing. They're drinking at the restaurant. None of his wife's fingerprints are on any of the wine glasses.
I thought there's CCTV.
He thought he deleted it.
Oh, this is before.
Bishimbayev continues, the most heartbreaking part about his wife's unfortunate self-exit, other than the fact that he's being framed for it, is that Bishimbayev claims that that night, the night of his wife's death, his wife confessed something very dark to him. He said that she admitted to having an affair with a well-known businessman in Kazakhstan. April 23rd, 2024, 6 months after his wife's death, Bishimbayev's voice is echoing in the courtroom. Say it, you f***ing say I slept with Rainbeck. There were 12 videos found in Bishimbayev's phone from the night of the murder. The videos are so graphic they have not been released to the public, but they have been played out in court and we were able to hear the audios of the videos. Aytbek, which is Sultanat's older brother, watching the videos in court for the first time, and his reaction, he looks gutted. It's stated that in the videos, Sultanat was forced to sit on the toilet completely nude, except for her black puffer jacket, and in the video her husband, the ex-minister Bishimbayev, is grabbing her by the hair, forcing her to pay attention to him.
Is this part taken after she was dragged into the restroom?
Yes, after he kicked her in the hallway. Then in another clip, Bishimbayev is screaming, I just want the truth. Did you Rainbeck Batalov? Sultanat sounds exhausted. She responds, yeah, but it sounds like she's just saying yes so that he can stop. In another video, Sultanat is heard saying, "I swear on my future children, I didn't." 12 videos of the ex-minister calling his beaten wife a slut, a whore, and forcing her to admit that she had an affair that never actually happened. To that, the ex-minister responded along the lines of, "Have you heard of deepfakes? It's basically a deepfake. Someone else, not him, took the videos of his wife in that condition that night, hacked his phone, pulled his voice from audios and videos because, he's a politician. There's a lot of videos of him out there, deepfaked it into him saying these horrible things to his wife, edited into the videos that were mysteriously taken of his wife the night that she died, and then hacked back into his phone to plant the videos there." But the truth is, he did take those videos. This was not a political setup. Sultanat, his wife, did not cheat on him. She never took her own life. And they found these 12 videos on his phone. They recovered CCTV footage of him beating his wife, kicking her, dragging her by the hair. But worse than that, according to the autopsy, her murder actually started a month before her death. The Nukianova family, to put it simply, nobody in the family was in dire need of money. She was so into astrology, but she did have this one rule. She only accepted women until she meets Bishambhai. Sultanat and Bishambhai's relationship, it all starts with a lie. Bishambhai comes across Sultanat's Instagram page. He signs up for a consultation, gets a professional but firm message back. Sultanat only accepts female clients. So finally, he gets a female friend of his to make up this whole backstory of why she needs a consultation with Sultanat ASAP, and Sultanat meets up with her to help, and they start hitting it off, and the client basically tells her near the end, "Look, I lied. The real reason I'm here is my friend. He's truly an incredible guy, and I promise you, once you get to know him, if you just give him the chance, truly, I think that you guys would be perfect for each other." The guy is Bishambhai. Now, Sultanat agrees to meet with Bishambhai, but even he later states that she was incredibly apprehensive, just hesitant about the whole relationship. And he's older. He has 2 previous marriages and 4 kids from those previous marriages. So Sultanat's family and friends are like, okay, yeah, who cares if he's the ex-minister? You're way too good for him. But Sultanat does not care about looks. She does not care about children or previous marriages. She said, "He is one of the most intelligent and mentally stimulating men that I have ever met." Or at least, that's how he portrayed himself. Within 2 months of meeting, Bishambhai proposes to Sultanat. They would get married December 16th, 2022, March 20th, 2023. 8 months before Sultanat's death. Aytbek comes home from work. And usually when he's at work, he doesn't check his phone. So he finally pulls out his phone out of his pocket. He sees a bunch of missed calls and messages from his little sister, Sultanat. He opens them up, and the first thing filling the screen is a picture of his baby sister with 2 black eyes. He's getting that picture from his little sister March 20th of 2023.
Okay, a year ago?
Yes. Now, January 1st of 2023, so like 3 months before this picture, there was something weird that happened. New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2022. So heading into 2023. This is the same month that they get married. Bishambhai and Sultanat get married. This is 11 months before Sultanat's death. Sultanat's brother, Aytbek, arrives at their apartment, the newlywed apartment. He walks over to his sister, presents his gift, and she seems really anxious. Then a few hours later, the door to the party opens and in walks Bishambhai's distant cousin. Cousin B walks in and he's with his wife, and it's clear that they were uninvited. Aytbek glances over and Sultanat is clearly panicking because it's kind of perceived as rude to not have a gift prepared for a guest for a New Year's Eve party.
But he was not invited.
Exactly, but they still brought a gift. Sultanat rushes into her room, comes back out a few minutes later with a carefully, beautifully wrapped gift for cousin B's wife. She opens it up. It's a perfume bottle. Unopened, of course. And Bishambhai walks over, sees the perfume bottle, and in that split second, his politician face is gone. He's tomato red, and there is literally fire-burning hatred in his eyes because he had gifted Sultanat that perfume, and now she is re-gifting it to his cousin's wife. He starts screaming at Sultanat in front of everyone, the children, his parents, Sultanat's brother. He doesn't care. He's yelling at the top of his lungs at her. "What right do you have to give away my gifts? I gave them to you. You're not even thinking about my feelings at all." A few people of Bishambhai's side, they try to get involved. "Come on, it's just perfume. It's not that big of a deal. I'm sure Sultanat just wanted to be polite." But he turns on them, his parents. He's screaming at his dad to stay out of it because all his dad ever did is ruin his life and his mom's life.
What?
At one point, he starts yelling at his mom for spending so much time with Sultanat, and eventually the whole thing kind of quiets down, and Aytbek, like I said, he had plans for New Year's, and he was just stopping by, and he's very hesitant to leave now, and his sister is like, oh, it's okay, like everything's good now. And as he's walking out, Bishunbaev's mom catches up with him, and she just starts profusely apologizing.
And at that point, during the New Year Eve and so on, he had this like face, aggressive face, but there was no physical abuse. She was feeling bad because I saw it. Not because he did it, he said that, but because I saw it.
But Aytbek decided ever since that day, he was going to keep an eye on Bishunbaev. 3 months later, he's gotten that picture of his sister with the 2 black eyes. Sultanat's brother arrives at Bishunbaev's house, and he's staring at Bishunbaev, whose body language is so relaxed. Where is Sultanat? Bishunbaev just shrugs. I don't know. That is till Sultanat's brother calls Bishunbaev's mom. And he says, your son, your criminal, beat his wife and now she's missing. This is when Bishunbaev is no longer calm. Because there's only 2 things in the world that Bishunbaev cares about. 1, what the public thinks of him. And 2, what his mommy thinks of him. And there was an altercation. The 2 turn into a tornado in that apartment. Sultanat's brother doesn't really remember too much from that fight, except at one point, it just stopped because he wanted to continue looking for his sister. Aytbek already went through Bishunbaev's entire apartment, but he knows that Bishunbaev's mom, like I said, lives 2 floors down. So he's running down the stairs, banging on the door. Nobody's answering. He's jiggling the door handle. He's kicking it until it completely breaks off, and now there's just a hole in the door where the door handle used to be.
Wow.
Finally, it opens, and Aytbek is staring at his little sister, but it's not his little sister. Stubborn independence. That's how the Nukianovas raise their children. I mean, you make your own decisions, you do what you choose, but you never forget that you are responsible at the end of the day. Except now, standing in front of Aytbek in this doorway, all of that is gone. I mean, she no longer has this crazy fighter spirit. She seems timid. She's like hugging herself, holding the door open. He did notice that the bruises on her face were now brown, so almost healed, but they're just giant blotches on her face. The picture she sent him earlier that day had been from a week or 2 ago. But again, none of that matters. Come on, pack your things. We're leaving. We're going home. And she just stops him. Please just stay out of it. I'm not leaving with you. I want to figure this out myself. This is my life and my marriage, and I'm committed to it, and it's not perfect, but I can save it. Aytbek goes home alone that night. And there were times where Sultanat did leave Bishunbaev. She left him about 8 times from March 2023 to her death about 8 months later in November 2023. But Bishunbaev always drew her back in. I mean, he knew exactly what to say, how to behave. Aytbek would text his sister pleading her. He would text her, think about just yourself for once and answer this. Are you happy? Is he worth it? You can always come and live with me. I will pay for the mortgage if necessary. I can support you, give you all your living expenses. Because again, Bishunbaev forced her to quit working. We will live normally. We need you to be happy and whole. I love him. He can kill you. I can't live without him, I swear. Talk to a psychologist. Show her the photos. I won't be able to live if I get divorced. They will explain to you, Sultanat, that this is not love. This is some kind of mental disorder. Bishunbaev almost every single night would do this thing where he keeps Sultanat up all night long, just talking to her about his life, his work. And if she tries to doze off or wants to go to sleep, he would get violently aggressive. Sultanat would end up severely sleep deprived, but somehow he would get 3 hours of sleep and go to work and function consistently. I have a theory that he was sleeping at work.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
But Sultanat, she would get 3 hours of sleep, and then he would have a whole day of things that he needed her to do.
And that's one of the worst type of
Yes.
torture is
Yes.
sleep deprivation.
On one occasion, she was trying to get a good night's rest. She was trying to sleep early. He woke her up in the middle of the night and showed her an explicit adult video because he was staying up to watch. He's like, this girl, her face is not in the video, but her body looks just like you. Is this you? And there were so many identifying markers that was not Sultanat. Like, she's like, look at that mole. I don't have that mole. Like, what are you saying? But he's like, this is you. Sultanat had this feeling that if she just had children with Bishunbaev, things would get better, but she couldn't get pregnant. According to some friends who went to the doctor with her, the doctor stated that her body was in survival mode, in a heightened state of high levels of cortisol, high levels of stress all the time. There was no way that she was going to get pregnant. She also was not eating a lot. Back on the night of November 8th, 2023, the original plan was Sultanat was going to wear one of those Max Mara pantsuits, because Bishimbaev really liked those. And they were going to go to a Kazakhstan Central Concert Hall in Astana to watch one of Bishimbaev's favorite musicians. Now, they do make it to the concert hall. Sultanat's wearing her Max Mara suit, but she also has tears streaming down her face, and Ada, her mutual friend, is confused on how to even comfort her. Right when they walked into the concert hall, Bishimbaev walks up to a young, strange woman and kisses her on the cheek right in front of his wife, does not introduce her to Sultanat, and the two, Bishimbaev and this woman, walk off together and disappear for 40 minutes right in front of Sultanat, doing God knows what. Bishimbaev cheated on her constantly, and she knew. She found out. Because by the time that Bishimbaev came back, Sultanat is in tears, and Bishimbaev drags her out of the concert hall. It would be the last time Sultanat's friend would see her alive. Later, we see footage of them near the exit door, and she's on her phone. He's pressing up against her, trying to grab at her face. The CCTV footage, or at least the ones that show them, are deleted from 12:30 a.m. to around 5 to 6 a.m. But a security guard in the building does make note of the couple. He has to stop Bishimbaev from trying to drive home completely. He says that he took Bishimbaev's keys from him and called Bishimbaev's cousin, the one that came to the New Year's Eve party. Cousin B manages this whole building. Cousin B hangs up, and he does not be right there. He goes back to sleep. A little while later, he gets another call. This time it's the manager of the BAU restaurant where Bishimbaev and Sultanat are. The restaurant manager is nowhere near as nice as the security guard. They're practically screaming into the phone, Bishimbaev is here again, and his wife, and he's making this whole scene screaming around the place nonstop all night. None of the employees that came during the night shift to do repairs can even get to work right now. Okay, got it. I'll be right there. But he does not be right there. He goes back to sleep. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, it is believed a huge fight has broken out between Bishimbaev and Sultanat. But Bishimbaev starts physically assaulting Sultanat, taunting her for the fact that he bought all of the clothes that she was wearing. And she just starts taking off her clothes. Because she's like, then take it. I don't want it anymore. I want to leave, and I want to go stay with my brother. 17 a.m., so about 20 minutes after the manager calls Cousin B, Bishimbaev is seen on CCTV cameras kicking his wife on the ground of the restaurant. Bishimbaev continues the torturous assault by dragging her by the hair into bathroom stall number 1. It is believed that Sultanat was able to at least briefly get into the bathroom stall without Bishimbaev and lock herself in there, but he does beat down the door. He breaks down the entire door. He remains in the restroom for about 50 minutes with Sultanat.
This whole time, there's people around.
Restaurant workers.
Yeah.
Manager. He is seen walking out of the restroom, caught on CCTV cameras, and this time he is shirtless. He grabs a bottle of from the bar.
Wait, he came out of the restroom shirtless? Get bare chest?
Bare chest. He then goes back into the restroom with a bottle of alcohol, where Sultanat is still in the restroom, and he stays there for an additional 70 minutes, where he continues to not only beat her, record her, make these humiliating videos of her, degrade her, but also grab her by the throat to strangle her. At one point, she does lose consciousness, but comes back to, and he continues to beat her further. It is around this time, 9:30 a.m., that Bishimbaev calls his cousin, Cousin B. Bishimbaev just tells his cousin, come to the restaurant and bring some blankets. He walks into VIP room number 1, where he sees Sultanat laying on the couch. Put the blanket on her. Bishimbaev tells his cousin that Sultanat, his wife, is sleeping. That's why he asked for him to bring the duvets, the blankets. He just needs to cover her up. Cousin B walks up and places the blanket on Sultanat. This is 3 hours after the footage of her being completely beaten in the restaurant hallway. So likely she's and has dried everywhere. But Cousin B acts like suddenly he can't see a single thing. 2.5 hours later, Bishimbaev texts Cousin B on WhatsApp, instructing him to delete all the footage from the security systems, all the CCTV footage. He wants it gone. He wants it deleted. 15 minutes later, Bishimbaev even goes all the way down to the security room to check on Cousin B deleting everything. They do manage to delete a lot of the footage, but not all of it.
So that's why he wanted the whole thing to be live streamed?
Yes. Because he thought that they deleted everything. Then Bishimbaev asks Cousin B to find Sultanat's phone and drive it around town. He tells Cousin B that Aitbek, Sultanat's brother, has been tracking her phone, and if he sees that she's been at this restaurant for too long, he's going to get suspicious, show up, and make a whole scene about it. Cousin B leaves, and Bishimbaev sits there and starts making a series of phone calls. One of them to his most trusted advisor, his psychic. He's complaining and freaking out a bit that his wife is not waking up. But clearly he's not that freaked out. Because at 3:30 p.m., Bishambayev is seen on CCTV footage eating a whole full-blown meal in the restaurant with an influencer while his wife lay dying in a VIP booth nearby. So while he's doing that, Cousin B calls a doctor and Cousin B asks, "Hey doc, can a person sleep for a very long time while there's a woman that drank and is sleeping, but she's not waking up." Well, I'm not a specialist, but intoxication is very dangerous. I think that you guys should immediately call an ambulance. Cousin B mentions, but she's snoring, which it feels like he called already knowing what kind of answers he wanted. He does not call an ambulance. Soon after, the influencer leaves from their little lunch date, which... whole conspiracy, okay? The influencer, the food blogger, whatever you want to call her, would later state that all they did was talk about her potentially promoting BAU, the restaurant that they're eating in, because she's a food blogger, and Bishambayev's mom basically owns the restaurant. But the thing is, she's got like 10,000 followers, which is a lot, don't get me wrong, but you're talking about Bishambayev here. He is not lacking in influence in the local area. After the lunch meeting, the blogger messages Bishambayev, "By the way, you smell like roses." After the blogger leaves, Bishambayev and his cousin realize that Sultanat is not awake, and she is not responding to either of them. That is when Cousin B brings in the bottle of smelling salts, the ammonia, instructed by Bishambayev, and tries to put it under Sultanat's nose to wake her up. No reaction. He eventually tells Cousin B, "It's fine. It's all good, because my psychic told me that Sultanat is gonna wake up." And then he looks down at his phone and he starts texting away. He starts texting another woman. And then by the end of the night, he finally calls an ambulance. They would not arrive until 7:55 p.m. on November 9th. So Putin was supposed to come around 6 p.m. All of that got canceled, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it cleared up. They can call ambulance and stuff?
Yeah, because Putin's no longer coming. Sultanat had no pulse. And in just another angering detail, Sultanat's eyes were wide open and her pupils were dilated. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Bishambayev was arrested at the restaurant November 9th, 2023. Sultanat's brother had just gotten his food delivered, and he sits down and his fork is mid-air when his phone starts buzzing. A mutual friend. And she's screaming, she's nervous, she's like, "What's wrong? Is it happening? Is it true? Is it true?" He's like, "You need to calm down and tell me what's going on." She's like, "Check WhatsApp." He checks WhatsApp, and someone from the police force had leaked information that a couple had gotten into a fight at the BAU restaurant, and one of them has sustained fatal wounds. Aitbek starts calling his sister, no response, so he calls the emergency dispatch. They cut him off in the middle of his explanation, and they tell him, "Go to the BAU restaurant, you'll find out more, but we're so sorry for your loss." But he's running inside the restaurant, trying to get up the stairs. The police are screaming after him, like, "Hey, what are you doing? Who are you? What are you doing?" I'm her brother. They told me to come here. They called me. They said my little sister is here. What's going on?" "We're so sorry for your loss." And that is how Aitbek finds out that his little sister was killed.
And I just lost myself for a couple of minutes, sat down, and I knew that right now I have to make a call to my parents and somehow tell it. I called my dad when he was asking, so what happened? He was already crying. I said that it's all true, that Sultanat was killed by the defendant. And at that point, I heard my mom started to scream.
Sultanat's brother and her closest girlfriends are standing in Sultanat's old closet in Bishambayev's apartment. This is right after her death, so I imagine their grief is at the highest peak. They're here to gather all of Sultanat's belongings, and they're all being thrown onto the ground right in front of them by Bishambayev's sister. "You want her? Take it." She's throwing each piece of clothing onto the floor. "Look at all the things that my brother paid for." Eventually, the group make their way to the kitchen. And now, this apartment has been sealed off for weeks. No one was allowed in. Bishambayev's mom she marches over to the stove, grabs a pot that still has food in it because that's how it was left when Sultanat died and before it was sealed off. It's been there for weeks. It's like boiled meat stew. And because nobody was in the apartment, it is completely spoiled. She grabs the pot of rotted meat, shoves it in Aitbek's face, stares at him, and spits. Look at what kind of housekeeper your sister was. The scariest part of the encounter, though, is that while they were leaving, Bishambayev's sister kept screaming, "You will never prove that he killed her." But Aitbek is gonna fight for his sister, because his sister was the one that told him. He was gonna help with change. And he didn't believe her then. But maybe he does now.
Говорит мне вслед, я ухожу в сторону, она начала материть меня в спину. Это меня спровоцировало. А вообще в целом вы тоже должны понять, что Ну, на протяжении там с 9:30 до там 3:30 я вот 6 или 7 часов просто слушал. Ну, 6,5 часов я вот подвергался такому.
So he beat her. But he wasn't trying to beat her to kill her. He states that she had prior injuries and prior health conditions that was the cause of death. And likely his beating did not help, but it was not the cause of her death. And not all the injuries were caused by him. Bishambayev said she threw herself at objects with her fists and legs. I've never seen anything like it. He would smile and laugh. And later his attorney had to, quote, explain his behavior by stating, I want to explain why my client is smiling. When he remembers the happy memories with Sultanat, he smiles. The food blogger that met with Bishambayev the day of the murder was called to testify. She was asked, did you know Bishambayev was married? We didn't know each other that well. Did you smell on Bishambayev? He was normal. I wasn't sniffing. Sultanat's
I
assistant.
thought you say you smell like rose.
That was an accident, she would later claim. Sultanat's assistant testified and confirmed Bishambayev was constantly violent. One of Sultanat's friends presented a text message to the court during her testimony, and it's from Sultanat. It reads, I feel sorry for Bishambayev. He's really injured and sick, and I kind of tried to help him, but I think I'm ruining myself. The trial started March 27th, 2024. Bishambayev was charged with murder and torture. He is facing 20 years to life. Cousin B was charged with concealment of a crime and faces up to 6 years in prison. But again, is there really a fair shot at justice? There's a rumor going around at the detention center. That's where Bishambayev and his cousin are being held. That once the lights go out, Bishambayev and cousin B are allowed to roam around out of their cells. As of filming this video, the trial has continued on, and it's pretty unclear when the jury will deliberate. Aitbek, Sultanat's brother, said the biggest thing that Bishambayev cares about right now is the public's opinion of him. I think we can keep an eye out on this case, and if Sultanat does not get justice, I think we can raise hell.